And BK is back! And finally the moment is here. We are going to have a look at my main base on the Outcraft server. First I will give you a tour of the house, as if you were an actual guest in the story. And after that we will compare things with the source material, and I will explain the redstone parts and the decisions that I had to make while building the house. Well, you've seen the title of the video, so you may already know what to expect next. I am welcoming you now to the Dr. BKraker Psychiatric Institute. This is the real front of the house. The majestic part facing the ocean is actually the backside. There isn't much to be seen here. This is a psychiatric institute after all, so a little bit of restraint isn't all that bad. But then there's the lobby. During the last restorations of the building we had installed a bar on this side, with also a little seating area. More for private use, so not for patients. A nice cozy fireplace, and there is a lovely view from the windows. Obviously on the other side there are no windows at all, because that's where the top of the mountain is. This is the old elevator. It no longer works, so we will have to take the stairs. And there are also two spots for maintenance on both sides. I'm sure that will come up again later during the tour. The institute is... oh, let me face you. And get in the light. The institute is strictly divided up into two pieces. The top part is used for the doctors and any visitors, whereas the lower parts are for the patients. I would suggest that we start in the public part. On both sides of the lobby there are two conference rooms, and both have a little cloakroom, which also can be used by the visitors. Obviously, we do not allow certain objects near patients simply as a precaution, and that can vary depending on specific patients, so visitors can leave their stuff behind in these lockers. This is one of the conference rooms. This is actually the one with the best view. And there's just a simple back room there. Through here that will take us to the canteen. Yeah, you may notice there is a lot of space between the seats and the tables. Obviously that is because of the pandemic. We need to maintain social distancing here. But as you can see from this footage from an earlier visit, the room was even completely emptied when we couldn't allow any visitors whatsoever, when things were worse. And back here we have the counter where people can order stuff. Not to forget that they also can freely use the water cooler back there. And a little kitchen. It's not much, it's just one from a Swedish furniture store. For who's interested, this model is a nutcase. There is some storage on both sides, currently not in use. As you can see, there are terraces on both sides. They both have a great view, but are not publicly accessible for safety reasons. You can only open these doors with a key, and I don't have that one on me. Which reminds me, the whole institute has a locking mechanism which automatically is activated when something goes wrong in the patient's area. This is to prevent any escapes from patients from the heavy security wards. One floor up is my office. It's a total mess, so don't pay too much attention to it. You can see that somebody lives here, that this is an actual base. From here I can get to the windows to look out. I should mention that in the lower part of the institute where the patients are, there are no windows at all. This is done by design. The patients are here to work on their inside, and so the idea is to limit distractions when possible. Still, the wards get daylight from above, you will see that later. Here in front there are some smaller offices with windows facing to the front. On the next floor are some more similar offices. Same on the floor above that, but in the back is a mysterious room which is used for experiments of a certain kind. I won't give more details at the moment. Oh, notice how the view outside gets better the higher up you go. On the next floor, more spacious rooms, slightly more irregular in shape. Now we get to the attic floors. Up here there is even more storage space on both sides. And here are some rooms with some old books and a restricted area for maintenance. One more floor up, we first go to the right. Back there is a room where strange rituals are being held. Just like with the other mysterious room, I will not explain this right now. And on the other side there is a ladder going up to the very top of the house. It's a bit cramped here, but these diorite partitions are here for some reason. The top window gives an amazing view out. Above here is the old radio tower, but that thing hasn't been used in decades. Now we go to the patients' areas. On the left side of the lobby is a hallway with consultation rooms, mainly for external patients. Most of these are not in use now, once again, because of the pandemic, but some of these are really nice. Ah yes, this is one for sleeping therapy. Some more rooms. Yeah, the white rooms are more for clinical research. There are a few like those around. This one has access to the windows. Oh, okay, yeah. Let's just ignore that. The other corridor leads to the areas for the interned patients, be that voluntary or not. Once again, we've got some cabinets here. And this is the first special one. This is the quote-unquote padded room. We have 2 cells that can be used when a patient is in need of some isolation. They are currently not in use. Well, I say they're not in use, but we do have a patient that prefers to stay here. He is patient 000. He's okay with me mentioning his name. It's Farfel. We don't blame, we don't shame, but Farfel has some problems. He is convinced that in the weeks prior to him coming here, he lived in a sauna, under a split boat, trapped in a rock. Yeah. Farfel is a good patient. He is cooperative, he stays here voluntarily, all on his own. He says he's got an imaginary friend and we choose not to correct him on that. Down here we will first take the corridor to the right. Once again, more cabinets, but through here we are in the section with the patient's wards. Firstly, we have the intake area. This is where the new patients are being interviewed by a doctor. Oh no, currently it's not a doctor, it's a psychologist. He's Canadian, Monsieur Usk. The portrait of his predecessor is still here. What was his name again? Ah yeah, Dr. Zombie. Yeah. Dr. Zom did a great job until one day he took some of his own medicine and we had to let him go. This is the door to the pharmacy, but that one is always locked, obviously. Down here we have the actual wards. There are 16 wards in total, where patients get treatment for 9 disorders in specific. I let Terrastormer choose what floor we have a look on. You choose a floor that you think would be interesting to go to.
Depression. And there is eating disorders. Let's go into OCD.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah,
hold on.
that's
1,
you need to be quick.
2,
What are you
3,
doing? Welcome to the OCD floor. Entering any ward goes through a little office used by the floor nurses and guards. The doors are always open but can be closed when the situation calls for it. Patients have their own individual cells and are perfectly fine with that. On the far side there is a small area with storage for objects from the patients. On each floor, guards and nurses can take the elevator that goes up to the pharmacy. And this here, and as you can see down here, this is perfectly safe. Nothing could possibly go wrong here.
Yeah, so if I fell, I wouldn't die.
You wouldn't die
If I fell
if you fell
into there, I would not die.
in there.
Okay.
Welcome in the
I guess I
mines.
didn't die. You're right.
The water elevator brings you back to the lobby through one of those maintenance doors. As you may have now figured out, the right one leads back down. Oh, now that we are here, it reminds me that there is another area behind the bar. First, there is storage, but down the staircase there is a crematorium. I will explain later why this is here. First, let's get back to the crossing where we took a right turn earlier. The current institute was built on top of an older one, and the old therapy rooms and cells can still be found in the cellars. That's where we go next. We better don't stay long because the place is haunted. There are just a few things that you absolutely need to see. Down here I will be switching a few times more to footage from the visits by Cerberus and Terrastormer for some spontaneous reactions. On both sides here are the main storage areas. And then we go further down in the cellars. I'll do it for you.
I can't see anything. Oh, there it is.
And that
I
turns
literally
on
couldn't see anything.
the
Oh,
light.
this is so cool.
As you can see, this is still copper wiring. There are some
Amazing.
glitches in the electricity, so don't mind that. There's nothing I could do
This is
about
so
that.
awesome.
The cost of this place was...
BK, it's so awesome.
So this is also where we've got...
BK, this is so cool.
This is where we keep the demonstration models still from the old hospital. Obviously today we can't do this.
Yeah.
This is illegal stuff. So we keep it here. Down that corridor is the broken elevator again. And this was the old reception area. It's quite gloomy here. For the real spooky stuff we will need to go deeper, and I will let Cerberus find a way down.
Well, this is just a maze. Is this it?
That's it. This floor is an even worse maze, and we may encounter some ghosts here. In many of these rooms, some monsters are kept for studying, and there are many more surprises.
Oh,
This is a special one as well.
that was scary.
Yeah, I know, that's why I did it. I hope it worked.
It did. I jumped.
Oh, there is a closet there.
Wow.
Did you see the closet?
Oh, that scared the crap out of me.
Yeah, it scared
was like,
Sai as
oh,
well. I
no.
love that.
Yes.
Well, besides the ghosts around here, there are doors opening and closing automatically, so...
Yeah, I heard a door open. I don't know where it was.
Terrastormer will bring us to the first goal down here, the morgue.
Is it gonna close on me? No.
So this is the morgue. Oh, there's still a bone there.
This is
And-
cool.
You know what's in the back of the morgue? I've posted some
And
pictures
time to go
around.
in here. Yeah. Oh, that's so cool.
That's a tank full of blood. Close to the morgue are the electroshock therapy rooms. So these are 7 cabins. So I like to zap my patients 7 at a time.
Ah, nice. Me too.
And as a last stop down here, there is a saturation room.
And I go in here. And
Yeah,
what happens?
I will show you.
What? Oh my god. Oh my god.
So the idea of a saturation room is that what makes a sane man crazy makes a crazy man sane. So I am blasting you with all the audio
Crazy
visual
images. Oh
scaring
my
you.
goodness.
That's the saturation room.
Do it again.
Okay, don't worry, you'll be fine.
Oh no. This is so cool. This is fucking terrifying.
How do you get out?
Oh my god.
Oh no, I can't. The door's closed.
Oh no, the lockdown mechanism.
Does that mean the monsters are coming?
You can't get out.
Let
Oh
me
no.
out. Let me
Even the
out.
windows are sealed.
How did that
Well,
happen?
don't panic. Somewhere in the
Let
cellars
me out.
is a button that stops the lockdown mechanism.
Oh, is that right?
In the
no.
old cellars.
Oh no.
So let's go back there now. Don't worry. I've been there several times before, and I'm still here. So
And I lived yeah, but you're a skeleton.
that's true as well. Yeah.
So far, I've only seen one closet. Oh my god.
There's a door there. I don't know if you saw it.
Oh Jesus Christ. Oh my god, what the hell?
Is this it?
I think you found it. Okay, now you need to find a way out.
That was scary.
That's what I did it for. The exit is really
Creepy.
close. I can tell you it's close. I
Well,
need
everyone?
to show you something. Yeah, this is the way out. I need to show you one last thing. Something that you
Okay.
will like. But first, let's make sure that the door is open.
Oh.
Yay!
Okay, the door is open.
I hear the portal. Yay!
There is just one more thing that I had to show my guests. The haunted corridor that we hadn't visited yet. This room is bricked in right here, so there is evil all over this place.
Oh.
So, if you go further in the corridor here, perhaps you want to explore?
Oh, maybe. There's something that's gonna jump out and scare the crap out of me here. I know there's something that's gonna like jump scare me. Oh, Jesus Christ! Oh!
Oh, this is the evil heart of this house.
You're the worst! Oh my god, you're the worst!
How are we gonna get out?
Oh, you scared the crap out of me!
I know, that's why. That's why.
That time it got me for sure. Oh my god, what is this? What
You
is
found
this?
the evil in this place, Cyrus. But how do you get out?
Good question. Ooh, don't go down in that hole. There's lava down there. Oh no. Oh no. Oh, I got pushed up on the water elevator. And now I'm going down. I'm going to push a button, and I'm gonna fall. And I am in the morgue, and I come out. I come out the door. Actually,
like
one of
it?
the things.
Do you like it?
Yes.
There's a button here that I assume is gonna scare the crap out of me again. Oh god, here we go. Oh god. Oh no. Ah, that's really cool. I like that. That's really smart.
It's a nice
It's-
idea, isn't it?
That's really cool. I like that.
Nice and
That's
creepy.
Really cool.
The Dr. B. von Kraker Psychiatric Institute is inspired by the 1999 horror movie House on Haunted Hill. The titular house does not really exist. Beside a scale model for some wide shots in the movie, only a couple of sets were actually used for the inside. The little information that could be found in the movie I translated into my own functional model. This took a lot of time, but it was most enjoyable. I slightly increased the height of the whole building to make it look more imposing. For every aspect of the inside, I tried to make sure that visitors would feel uncomfortable, even anxious. A lot of gloomy lighting, dark materials, repetitive patterns in the corridors, confusing layouts everywhere. Yeah, I think I succeeded in my goal. There is a sequel to the movie, but I haven't used any material from that. Finding a location was a real big problem. I was looking for a specific cliff formation, and I was wrong to think that playing on an amplified world would actually help me finding that. Most mountains are simply too high or too low. There was nothing in between. Also, I wanted the back of the house to face the west. In the movie, it's actually more north. And I also wanted there to be an ocean or a swamp at the bottom. After a lot of searching around the world, I settled with this location as a compromise, knowing that I would have to do some terrain forming to make it all work. I removed a floating island and bits of the mountain on one side and added more on the other. When I had already advanced quite well in creating everything around the house, I was once again struck by some bad luck. The creative world in which I made the layout of the house and all kinds of redstone mechanisms for the inside had become unstable after a computer glitch, so I lost all of that material. To continue building, I had to do all of it from memory, and that is where some things went wrong, mostly with the layout. To create the background story from my institute, I used the original history from the movie about the Dr. Vonnegut Psychiatric Institute for the Criminally Insane. But I chose not to use the full story of the movie itself, and rather create kind of a parallel universe in which the institute is still in use. Even though this place would mainly serve as my actual base in Minecraft, it had always been my plan to make it into an experience for visitors. That is why I included the mazes in the cellars and the lockdown mechanism that had to be turned off before visitors could leave again. The heart of evil where players fall into when walking in the haunted corridor is not seen in the final cut of the movie, but it does show up in one of the deleted scenes. And this is where I will start my explanation of the technical parts of my base. In the movie, the floor in the corridor explodes, pushing some of the characters towards the spot where one of them falls down in a pit full of decaying corpses. From the start, it would have been my plan to do the same thing, using pistons, but when the time came for me to work on the redstone part for that, I came to the realization that I had expanded the cellars below it to allow for a bigger maze, and because of that, there was no longer any space for the mechanism, so I cut it, with a lot of regret. The pit opens when a pufferfish notices the presence of a player. As soon as the fish expands just a little bit, the floor opens immediately. The lockdown mechanism is activated completely at random, using the pathfinding of a zombie. The zombie thinks it can walk through the trapdoors, so when it pathfinds to any block outside of its cell, it tries to go through them in that direction. Only when it tries to get to this single block, it walks on top of the pressure plate, hitting an RS NOR latch, which then can only be reset by pushing the button in the cellars.
This lockdown thing, there's gotta be like a main control room in this place, right?
In the basement, but you're not gonna want to go down there. You're not gonna want to go down there. It's a maze down there.
At the same time, when the button is pushed, an item is dropped on a pressure plate, preventing the zombie to close the doors again. This gives the player at least 5 minutes to get from the cellars back to the outside. The randomizer can be turned off completely by flipping this switch. The front door is a simple model that I made myself. Originally I would have wanted to make a 3x4 door, but I also wanted it to close like it did in the movie, coming down from the top. I settled with using a visual trick that, in combination with the iron bars in the middle, makes it look as if the blocks are being shoved in from above. In reality, it's just about the order in which the pistons are being activated. The iron shutters for the windows are being activated by the same signal that closes and opens the door, using a simple redstone signal. Yes, I know that technically you would be able to escape via the portal. If I had more space inside the walls, I would have included a mechanism that would disable the portal at the same time when the lockdown happens. This is one of the problems caused by me losing that creative world in which I made preparations. Talking about a portal, let me show you the nether side. I made a mini version of the Institute here so that people would immediately recognize what portal to take. The ghost in the bottom cellar floor is caused by the tentacles of a ghast that lives just above. When going down the bent staircase to the lowest floor, the player hardly realizes how much space there is between the floors, and that helps to keep the mystery up. The ghast was moved in there, all in survival. I'd like to stress that. The same counts for all the mobs that are locked in the rooms in the cellars. They were caught during Halloween 2020, the only day when mobs can spawn with pumpkins and jack-o'-lanterns for a head. The rarest one I caught, the skeleton horseman with the jack-o'-lantern, is not the original one. I had safely caught one underwater with a lot of effort, and one day it had just disappeared. After doing a lot of testing, I found that it's very likely that a pufferfish must have killed it. I asked Terrastormer if it would be okay for me to replace the head of another skeleton horseman that I caught in survival instead. The skeleton horse, the skeleton, and the horseman of the apocalypse were caught in survival as well, and their AI was disabled using a command to have them stay motionless in the display boxes. The misshapen baby was made using the armor stand mod, just like the floating souls, the corpse, the bone in the morgue, etc. The glitches in the lighting in the cellars and the randomly opening doors use the same mechanic. When you place an armor stand on a block of redstone ore, the last one will put out an update on random moments with relatively large intervals. For the doors, the long intervals were not a problem, but for the light glitches I added 9 randomizers on each individual circuit, increasing the average frequency of each interruption by 9. The saturation room is another element that came directly from the movie.
Vanikin's treatment for schizophrenia. What would drive a sane man mad would drive a madman sane.
The whole thing is a redstone clock that makes the light go around the inner chamber, continuously plays a set of sounds, and randomly shoots up armor stands with mob heads on them. I had to keep it compact, so I had to settle with not randomizing the sound effects. In the electroshock rooms, I had also planned to put a system with armor stands wearing armor pieces with thorns on them that would shock players that try to touch them. For reasons that I will address later, I skipped making those. I only had space for 7 rooms, making 18 was a bit much.
Dr. Vanik would like to zap his patients in multiples of 18. More energy efficient, I guess.
Farfallen is made were the original breeders at my Stoneship starter base. Obviously, the padded rooms are the breeding farm. Some of the bed ejection mechanism for mobs changed in the earliest versions of Minecraft 1.16, so I was forced to change the design. As long as I keep the iron doors open, it doesn't really matter where the beds are. Patient Farfall and his imaginary friend are perfectly capable to pathfind to the beds in the dormitory, and that's enough to keep producing more villagers without any interruption. Babies drop down in a water stream, which they can only leave once they've grown up. When there is at least one grown-up villager in the holding cell, a light will be on in the intake area. A push of a button makes a minecart pick one villager up from the cell and ejects it into the interview area. A zombie villager, or a husk in the case of Monsieur Usk, infects the villagers. To save up on splash potions, the 4 are perfectly in range of one another to feel the effect of one single bottle. Obviously, this was before I had a Fletcher villager that gives me tipped arrows with the same effect. Since that moment on, I have been using those rather than the potions. Once the villagers are healed, they can be sent to the correct floors. Each floor holds 8 villagers. To divide them up, I worked out a balanced order in which the villagers would have to be arranged. You may have figured out already that each type of patient in the Institute is connected to a trade of villagers. Recovering from religion, for example, is for clerics. The depression ward is for 6 fishermen and 2 butchers. Eating disorders is for farmers. Librarians wearing a book on their head filled the insanity wards. Cartographers at substance abuse. Smiths and leatherworkers are being treated for burnouts. Masons are in the paranoia ward, and finally, shepherds needed treatment for sexual disorders. I repeat, this is all in jest. Don't take this serious. A minecart sends the healed villagers to the correct floor, following the instructions of a 16-way redstone selector that I made specifically for this purpose. The redstone signal from the rotation of the item frame is, if selected by the switch, augmented with an additional signal strength of 8. And it is the resulting signal that is sent down, making sure that the strength only goes down by 1 at each floor. When a floor receives a signal, the rail that is supposed to catch the falling minecart is retracted. When a minecart lands on a certain floor, the villager gets automatically ejected in a cell that is not yet occupied by another villager. If all cells are full, the minecart with the villager will keep going around until either a cell is made empty or another floor is selected. Down in the mines there is a kelp farm. We urgently needed fuel for the community gold and XP farm in the Nether, so even before I had put the full layout of the house on paper, I chose a random location for the farm and also where the kelp would be sent to get cooked. The location became the crematorium. The kelp grows down below, and on the morning of each day 2 flyers do the harvest and water elevators send it up. There the kelp is stored and is only sent through to the cookers when it reaches a plural of 160 to make sure the cookers won't waste any fuel themselves. Even though this is just a small setup, this system worked too good, swamping me each day with many stacks of kelp blocks. So I had to remove most of the kelp plants down in the farm to slow it down. In the mountain next to the Institute, I made a simple iron farm. After the first experiment with an existing model that I built in Stoneship, I worked out the perfect size for a single core iron farm, which I made here. The iron is sent by water streams to the storage chests at the floor with the smiths, and the poppies to the one with the shepherds. Just like the kelp farm, this simple single core iron farm works too good, so in the future I will reduce the size of it. I can't keep up with all the iron it produces. Also down here are 2 food farms for potatoes and carrots run by farmers. The farming villagers regularly try to throw food to the hungry villager in the middle, but fail to do so because of the trapdoors. The items then are sent up with water elevators to the floor with the farmers. For trading purposes, I don't need more than those 2 crops, and the farm works completely independent of my own input, so that is why I made those specific type of farms. Finally, there are the mysterious rooms in the top half of the building. All of them are parts of a charged creeper farm. In the very top of the building there are 2 tiny mob farms. One spawns only creepers, and the other one creepers, zombies and skeletons, and the occasional witch. Creepers are chased away by cats, skeletons by a dog, and zombies get attracted by a villager. Only for all of them to fall in a network of water streams in the walls that send them to specific other locations. The creepers of the creeper-only farm first go to the mysterious room a couple floors down. On the left side I can safely name tag the creepers so that they won't despawn. Once name tagged, I can send them up again to a reservoir where they wait until they get charged by lightning. For this I only need to hit an armor stand on this spot with a channeling trident. By the way, this system was made prior to the existence of lightning rods in 1.17. Even though this spot does not have direct access to the sky, the lightning is not obstructed by this trapdoor. If the irregular mob farm is active, the mobs can drop down in the mysterious room on the right. With a click on the note block I can have a minecart pick up one of the charged creepers from the reservoir. This happens in the maintenance area behind the locked door. Here I can relatively safely make it explode, have it kill the mob opposite to it and make it drop its head. Even though both mob farms are extremely small and are all the way up near build limit, the spawn rates are not bad at all. This is because I made the whole surroundings spawn free.
All of these mountains, everything, you've covered in 2 layers of snow.
Everything. Nothing
You're
can
insane.
spawn here. I know.
You are insane.
I
You're
love these projects.
crazy.
I'm going to
You're
do this.
crazy.
Oh, you left
He's
the door
covered
open.
What the fuck, BK? What the fuck?
That's how I play this game. So also the house is
Lost
completely...
your damn mind.
The whole house is completely spawn free as well. There is enough light.
Oh,
There's
yes.
no
Obvious.
single place where they can spawn. The only place where potential spawns could happen is within those 2 farms and nowhere else. So all attempts there will succeed. Specifically to increase attempts multiple times, the farms are on the outside surrounded by a floor of string. This allows the spawning mechanisms to start even at this height. And that is my main base on the Outcraft server. I know, a lot of rooms are empty. That wasn't supposed to be like so. We knew that 1.17 was to come out in a certain period, and ahead of that I rushed finishing the main parts of the Institute. Normally the Outcraft server was going to restart with a brand new world on the occasion of the new update, so I had accepted for myself that I would leave this world behind with a lot of the rooms in the Institute empty. But then suddenly Mojang announced that the Caves and Cliffs update would get split up, and we decided that the restart would have to wait for the 1.18 update. By then, obviously, I kinda already said goodbye to this project and the world, and it no longer felt right for me to start adding more new stuff. For example, for the cellars, I had designed more things to scare visitors, like in the back of the central hall of the first cellar floor. When the lights are turned off, a pair of glowing Enderman eyes would show up for short intervals, and the same for locations on the lower floor, but I skipped those. This was a big video. I knew this was going to take a lot of editing, and still I had to cut out a lot of material. So if you would still have some questions about a certain part, don't hesitate to let me know. There's a lot more to be seen here on the Outcraft server, not in the least my completely invisible raid farm, over there. The preparations for the video on my raid farm are not yet finished, so you still have that to look forward to, and there is much more to come. But for now, BK says bye.